SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Yeah, Machado laces it in the air to deep left. This one gonna go!
Coming up, we'll recap the last Padres game, preview today's starting pitching matchup, give you our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Craig Stammen. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. As today the Padres take on the Philadelphia Phillies in the first game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Phillies, left-hander Jesus Luzardo, and for the Padres, right-hander Griffin Canning. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you from inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park on this Memorial Day. First pitch coming up at 3:40 p.m. as the Padres begin their third series of this 9-game homestand. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we have a lot to do. You'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. You'll hear from former Philly and current Padre Nick Castellanos. We hear from Tony Gwynn Jr. in just a little bit. And we'll also have our keys to today's game and much, much more. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres entered today 31-21, a game and a half back of the Dodgers for first place in the National League West. Padres began this homestand losing 2 of 3 to the Dodgers, but then they bounced back by winning 2 of 3 from the Athletics. Phillies, meanwhile, come in 26-27. It's been a wildly up and down first third of the season for them. They went on a 10-game losing streak in April. They were 8-18 after that. They were I should say they were 8-18 on the season after that. They fired their manager, Rob Thompson, named Don Mattingly the interim manager. Since that 10-game losing streak, though, Phillies have played much better. They are 18-9 since then, but the Phillies did just lose 4 of 6 on a homestand against the Reds and the Guardians. Well, the Padres looking for a sweep yesterday against the A's. Let's rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
Yesterday on Sunday here at Petco Park, Michael King took the mound for the Padres in the first inning. He got ahead of the A's leadoff man, Carlos Cortez, 0-2.
0-2 pitch in the air to deep right field. Oriano started in. He's got to race back. He's at the track and the wall. He looks up. It's going to go. Leadoff home run, Carlos Cortez. Michael King is looking back with a look of absolute disbelief on his face. Cortez hits the bag at third, a low 5 for his coach, Bobby Crosby, and another 2-strike hit for Cortez. This one over the wall and right. A leadoff homer to make it 1-0.
That's all King allowed in the first inning. Padres still trailed 1-0 in the second. A runner on base against King, Henry Bolte at the plate.
And the pitch is hit on a line out to left center field. Sheets long run into the gap, not going to get there. With 2 outs, Geloff was out and running. He will come in to score. It's an RBI double. And Henry Bolte has given the A's a 2-0 lead here in the second inning.
Alika Williams then hit an RBI single to score Bolte. A's led 3-0. The day didn't get a whole lot better for King. He went just 3 2/3 innings, 4 earned runs given up, 5 hits. He walked 4. 81 pitches. Padres got a run against Jacob Lopez to make it 4-1 in the 6th inning. Padres were still in the game thanks to great work from Ron Marinaccio out of the bullpen. After Marinaccio entered in the 4th inning, he would pitch into the 7th inning. He went 3 innings, allowed no runs on just 1 hit. Padres still trailed 4-1 going to the bottom half of the 7th. A's righty Justin Sterner came on. The second batter of the inning was Ty France.
Here's the pitch. And France in the air, deep to right field, headed towards the Petco porch. Cortez going back. This one gonna go. Oh, they're not gonna throw Ty France out at home this time. 5th home run of the season for Ty France. Padres inch a little bit closer. It's 4-2 here in the 7th inning.
He's got a run in the 9th inning to make it 5-2. Padres would get the first 2 batters on base in the bottom of the 9th, a tying run at the plate a few times, but former Padre Scott Barlow completed the save, and that was it yesterday. Padres winning the first 2 games of the series against the A's on Friday and Saturday, unable to complete the sweep. And now we turn the page as the Padres welcome in the Philadelphia Phillies for Game 1 of this 3-game series here on Memorial Day. Let's go inside the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Tony Gwynn Jr. in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Tony, let's begin with a look at today's starting pitching matchup. Right-hander Griffin Canning on the mound for the Padres. It's been, I would say, a bit of an up and down early part of his Padre career. What do you make of what Griffin Canning has done so far and his keys today against, obviously, a star-laden Philly lineup?
Listen, the way I look at Griffin's kind of start to the season is him having basically his spring training right now in his first couple of starts. And he's had one clunker, that one in Milwaukee, but I thought he threw the ball pretty well against the Dodgers. He kind of, he had that one inning where it kind of got away from him, but he settled in nicely, gave the Padres the innings they need. Remember, Canning's pitching at the back end of the rotation. And so you kind of look at him in the same way you look at Walker's outings. Are they giving their teams an opportunity, a chance to win these games? And I think he did that in the last start. And you just hope as he gets some more innings under his belt, he starts to find some rhythm.
Tony, looking at the top of this Phillies lineup, Trey Turner's had a pretty tough year so far, but then you've got Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper behind him in the 2-3 spot. Schwarber, 20 home runs already. We know what he does, just incredible power. Bryce Harper also, Tony's having a really, really good first third of the season in a lot of different ways. If you're Griffin Canning and the Padres pitching staff today and throughout this series, how do you navigate Schwarber and Harper in particular?
Well, I think it starts by making sure no one's on when you're dealing with those two, right? I think when they come up with guys on the base pass, that's when they're at their most dangerous. And I think for the Padres, with the, considering where those guys are hitting at in the lineup, you got to kind of navigate the bottom portion of the lineup and certainly those spots ahead of Harper. And so I think that's how you approach it. Those guys are going to get theirs when they're right. And there's really not a whole lot you can do about it. But on the flip side of that, you can keep the guys who are above them and below them off the base passes to make sure you're at least dealing with just one guy as opposed to, a couple.
Tony, Jesus Luzardo, good left-hander on the mound for the Phillies today. He's had a good season. It's been a little interesting. He's been very good away from Philadelphia and very good in a lot of his starts. He has had a handful of clunkers as well, but he is somebody who obviously has really good stuff and also is somebody the Padres have seen a little bit before. What kind of challenges does Jesus Luzardo present in this game?
He's got a good fastball, obviously. He's using the sweeper a whole lot more this season, and more than he's using any other pitch. And what I've seen in the last couple of starts, he started to use the four-seam a little bit more. It's been getting hit. It had been getting hit earlier in the season. And for the Padres, I think it's much more about themselves. When they can come out and put good at-bats together and kind of maybe drag Luzardo into the deep end a little bit because, he has a tendency, as you said, to get a little erratic. And if you can run that pitch count up a little bit early, you can get into that bullpen and kind of do some damage. And so I think that's where the Padres are at. See if they can start stringing together some consistency offensively and maybe put some runs up.
Tony, there's no doubt a headline heading into this series is Nick Castellanos facing his former team, a team that let him go during spring training. He's in right field batting 6th today, and predictably, it was a topic of conversation inside the clubhouse. Nick addressing myself and other reporters. We'll hear from Nick a little bit later, but it feels like a good day to ask you, how would you sum up Nick Castellanos, what he's done since he's arrived, the way I think he's really embraced sort of a new role in his career, and also what he's done on the field?
I think the way I would describe it is it's trending up.
Yeah.
I think listen, for a guy who's been 14 years in the league and has always been at least one of the dudes on a roster, it takes a little bit of adjustment to to utilize the role that he's in and the way we've seen him really this month. I think it was adjustment for him earlier, and rightfully so, but I think he's embraced it. And, the numbers may not speak to it, but he's come up with a lot of big hits already.
Absolutely,
for the Padres. And so when you can have a guy like that on your roster, in your locker room, and occasionally in your lineup to kind of help the offense, I think it's a boon. And I think he's done a good job with it. Under the circumstances, as I said, it's not an easy shift for a player, but I think, all in all, Nick has done a great job with it.
Yeah, totally agree with you. I think looking at his numbers alone is a disservice. He's had some really big hits and big moments for this team. He's directly contributed to wins and certainly a headline heading into today's game as he takes on the Phillies. And we'll hear from Nick coming up a little bit later. Tony, as always, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you and Jesse coming up at 3:30. Thanks so much.
All right, Sam, take care.
All right, Tony Gwynn Jr. joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network. First pitch coming up at 3:40. As always, if you want to get involved on our pregame coverage, you can do that in a variety of ways. You can find me on X at Sammy Lev, SammyLev. Instagram DMs open as well. Sammy Lev there too. You can also comment on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube stream. Let me know who you are, where you're tuned in from, and if you have a key to this series opener against the Phillies, let me know what it is, and I may just read it live here on the air. When we come back, we hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. We'll tell you who's hot, who's not. A quick look at some headlines from around the major leagues as we walk you up towards first pitch at 3:40, game one of this three-game set against the Phillies on the Padres Radio Network. baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. First pitch at 3:40 here at Petco Park. Game one of this three-game series between the Padres and Phillies. Right-hander Griffin Canning on the mound for the Padres today. Left-hander Jesus Luzardo on the mound for Philadelphia. Plenty of people here inside the loft, having a good time, drinking beers and mixed drinks and enjoying all the great food they have to offer here at Petco Park on what should be a very nice Memorial Day, late afternoon into early evening. It was very overcast the early part of the day when I first got here in the late morning, but good news, the sun has popped out. Might be a little chilly on the chillier side as the afternoon rolls along into early evening. So make sure you bring a jacket, bring a sweatshirt, something like that if you're on the way to the game, because it could be a little on the chilly side for San Diego standards, but should be a nice day. Sun has popped out. And of course, on this Memorial Day, we honor and remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. And the Padres take on the Phillies in game one of this three-game series. Take a look at the Padres lineup here today. Looks like this. Fernando Tatis Jr. at second base, leading off. Miguel Andujar DHing today, batting second. Xander Bogaerts at shortstop, batting third. Manny Machado at third base, batting cleanup. Jackson Merrill in center field, batting fifth. Nick Castellanos in right field, batting sixth. Ty France at first base, batting seventh. Ramon Laureano in left field, batting eighth. And Rodolfo Duran doing the catching and batting ninth with, again, right-hander Griffin Canning on the mound. Let's go downstairs and hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen before this series opener.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
Facing a couple of tough lefties this series, what would be key for your offense to get going against left-handed pitching this series?
Yeah, we got to stick to the process, keep taking good at-bats. I think that we are taking good at-bats. We just haven't punched through that big hit that, kind of breaks the game open. We're looking for that. Eventually, I know it's going to come with some of these guys that are perennial great hitters, and, they're going to get it. It's just a matter of time.
Got Rodolfo Duran catching Griffin Canning for the first time this season. I know that you spoke earlier on about just the importance of having guys just being able to throw to anyone. Could you speak to that specific to today?
Yeah, and I think Duran caught Griffin all the outings he had in El Paso, so he has some familiarity with Griffin, but just wanted to mix it up for Griffin, see what it looks like with Duran, and then give Freddie just a little bit of a breather. He's been, as we know, been getting hit in the head quite a bit and a lot of dings on his feet and his legs, and so couple days off for him just to recoup and get back at it.
What has Castellanos meant to this team?
Yeah, he's been great. He's had a few big hits for us. He's been a veteran leader on the team and presence on the team. He's developing into a new role, but he's been a great addition to the Padres.
What emotions do you think he's going through facing his former team and how that all ended?
Yeah, I think it's always fun to face your former teammates, your buddies. The best thing about playing baseball is playing baseball against your buddies and trying to outduel them and outdo them. I know he's got good memories from the Phillies, and although it ended in a way that probably nobody's happy about, I think it'll be a good reunion for him against them.
He's talked a lot about the communication that the organization had with him as he signed here. From your perspective, what was the responsibility of the front office, yourself, in communicating to him what his role would be here and how it would all look once he got rolling?
Yeah, Nick asked for that right from the beginning, and we've tried to do our best. At times, are we perfect at it? I don't think anybody's a perfect communicator, but especially in the new role he had, it took a little extra. But everybody in the coaching staff has been a big part of that, has helped me out in that. And I think we've got Nick in a great spot right now and, ready to take on his old mates.
Craig, do you think there's a particular challenge for the offense just having faced as few left-handed starters as you guys have?
Maybe. I mean, these guys have faced left-handed pitching their entire lives, probably more right-handed than left-handed, but, it's the major leagues. They're going to face righties and lefties. And like yesterday, we faced a lefty. He wasn't the starter, but he pitched most of the game. Part of baseball, we got to figure out how to hit both-handed guys.
Do you guys feel a little extra something when you face the Nationals?
Oh, yeah. I love pitching against the old team. It was just a blast. One is you're comfortable because you know the guys, and you just don't want them to be able to rib you a little bit that they got you. You want to have that upper hand, and it's very enjoyable going back and playing at Nats Park and then them coming here and playing against them.
How do you assess Griffin Canning's early handful of starts as a Padre?
Yeah, some good, some bad. I think to be expected with the injury that he was coming back from. It wasn't always going to be smooth. And honestly, it's what Major League Baseball pitching is. Like, you're going to have some good games, you're going to have some bad games, and it's about bouncing back and seeing what you can do the next time.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen before today's game as the Padres get ready to take on the Philadelphia Phillies. Let's quickly pause for station identification on the Padres radio network.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
Hi, this is Xander Bogaerts from the San Diego Padres. You're listening to Padres Baseball on the Padres Radio Network.
An Odyssey Sports Station.
Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 3:40. You heard from Xander Bogaerts there. Xander moved up to the 3 spot in the Padres lineup today, playing shortstop. Manny in the cleanup spot. Jackson Merrill batting 5th and playing center field. Let's quickly tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to step up their game? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not. Presented by ASAP Drain Guys and Plumbing, a division of Anderson Commercial, your full-service plumber serving San Diego County.
We'll take a quick look at one guy in each category today. In the hot category, a guy that'll be on the bench today, Gavin Sheets, his last 12 games. Gavin hitting .389, 4 home runs, double, 10 RBIs. No surprise that Ty France is getting the start at first base today, not Gavin Sheets, with the lefty Jesus Luzardo on the mound for Philadelphia. The not category, Miguel Andujar. He's just 2 for 16 in his last 4 games. Obviously, Miguel's been very good for this Padre team this season, but in a little bit of a cold stretch right now, too, for his last 16. And that's a quick look at who's hot, who's not, as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 3:40 p.m. Now let's take a look at some Major League headlines as we go around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Couple of notes from the out-of-town scoreboard today, and we'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in a bit. The White Sox, Munetaka Murakami hit a home run today against the Twins, his 18th home run of the season. Murakami now sits in the American League lead in home runs. He is 18 on the year, one more than the 17 home runs this season for the Yankees' Aaron Judge. Cubs lost to the Pirates today 2-1. They have now lost 9 consecutive games. Have the Chicago Cubs. They are going through it right now on the north side of Chicago. A couple of other notes for you. Blue Jays right-hander and former Padre Dylan Cease is going on the IL after suffering a left hamstring strain yesterday. And the Dodgers have activated utility man Kike Hernandez from the IL. They designated Santiago Espinal for assignment. The 34-year-old Hernandez missed the first 53 games of the season, recovering from elbow surgery. And that is a quick look at some of the headlines from around Major League Baseball. As I said, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in a bit. When we come back, we'll get the latest on Jake Cronenworth and Luis Campusano, what their status is. Both those guys still on the IL. Plus, you'll hear from former Philly and current Padre Nick Castellanos getting ready to take on his old team for the very first time. We'll sort of revisit the way things ended in Philadelphia. That's part of the reason why it is a headline heading into today's game. Castellanos facing his old team. Much, much more to do. First pitch coming up at 3:40 from Petco Park on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 3:40, game one of this three-game series between the Padres and the Philadelphia Phillies. We'll have our keys to the game coming up in a little bit. We also hear from former Philly Nick Castellanos about to take on his old team for the very first time since being released by the Phillies during spring training. But first, let's get to some injury updates. We have updates from Craig Stammen on Jake Cronenworth, Luis Campusano, and more.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Well, Jake Cronenworth still on the IL with the concussion. He's been on that concussion IL for a little while now. Luis Campusano still on the IL with a toe fracture on his left foot. The updates from Craig Stammen today. He begins with the latest on Jake Cronenworth.
Yeah, Jake's still working his way back from the concussion protocol, slowly ramping up activity.
Luis Campusano, how's he doing?
He's doing well, progressing really nicely. Should start. He's been doing some baseball activities. I think he's catching a bullpen right now, so slowly but surely getting a little closer to coming back.
Juan Marquez this week, live BP that he's going to be throwing. Is that right?
Yep. He'll be throwing a live BP this week. His arm's feeling good. No pain whatsoever anymore. So on his way back.
What hurdles does Campy need to clear before a rehab assignment?
I think he's got to get to the point where he's pain-free, getting in and out of his catcher squat. So far, he's been able to hit somewhat pain-free, throw, all that kind of stuff. But we know behind the plate, you take a beating. Any wrong foul ball or pitch, it's always just tough, and you got to be able to move. You got to be able to be agile, and when your big toe's just a little banged up, it's tough to do some of that stuff.
That was the latest on Luis Campusano and Jake Cronenworth from Padres manager Craig Stammen. And that's a quick look at today's injury update as we get updates on Cronenworth and Campusano and Joe Musgrove, Nick Pivetta, German Marquez will continue to pass them along. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. What's going on around the majors on this Memorial Day?
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We take a look at scores from around the major leagues. We have a handful of finals already today. Brewers beat the Cardinals 5-1 in Milwaukee. White Sox beat the Twins 3-1 in Chicago. Orioles beat the Rays 9-7 in 13 innings in Baltimore today. Pirates beat the Cubs 2-1. Cubs have now lost 9 consecutive games. Games going on right now. Yankees ahead of the Royals 4-3 in Kansas City in the 9th inning. The Reds leading the Mets 7-1 in New York in the 7th. Diamondbacks 1, Giants nothing in the 4th inning in San Francisco. Games yet to begin aside from this one. Nationals and the Guardians in Cleveland at 3:10. Astros and the Rangers in Arlington at 4:05. Marlins and the Blue Jays at 4:07 in Toronto. Rockies and the Dodgers in LA at 6:10. And finally, Mariners and the A's in Seattle at 6:40. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Monday, Memorial Day 2026. Well, Nick Castellanos batting 6th and playing right field for the Padres here today. Castellanos, of course, had a pretty rocky ending to his time in Philadelphia. An incident late last season in Miami, and then you had him not showing up to spring training at the request of the team, essentially, and then he ultimately got released during spring training, and Castellanos became a free agent, signed with the San Diego Padres. So it was a bit of a rocky ending in Philadelphia. Didn't sound like he had the greatest relationship in all likelihood with Phillies manager Rob Thompson. Then you have the added on context where Thompson was fired earlier this season when the Phillies were really struggling at the early part of the year. Phillies naming Don Mattingly their interim manager. So a lot of different details going into the Nick Castellanos Phillies situation, but certainly, and this is my opinion, Nick's done a really nice job with the Padres so far. You got to look beyond the numbers. Nick's had some really good hits. He's been an excellent guy inside that clubhouse. So So far, so good for Nick Castellanos here in San Diego, but predictably with the Phillies in town, well, a lot of the Phillies reporters, writers, well, they wanted to talk to Nick Castellanos inside the Padres clubhouse earlier today about his time with the Phillies, the way things ended in Philadelphia, and his time in San Diego. Have a listen.
First time facing your former team. Any different feelings or emotions going into the series?
I'm excited to see a lot of my guys, for sure.
Have you seen anyone? Or I don't know what time they got in yesterday, actually, but have you been able to catch up with anyone yet?
A few guys reached out to me on the phone.
I know you're close to a lot of those guys, Otto especially. How much have you talked to them this year and talking them through kind of the season a little bit?
I had some good conversations with guys, just text throughout. No rhyme or reason, but a few, yeah.
And how have you adjusted to San Diego so far this year?
Great. Good group. Feel like everybody goes about it really the right way. AJ thinks outside the box, which I appreciate, and I'm enjoying it.
How much have you been looking forward to playing a team that released you?
I'm happy to see everybody, man. What's up, man?
Hi, man. How you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm great.
Great.
With a different role here this year, what do you think has made that adjustment easier for you or more? I know you're playing a little more of late. What made that What made that adjustment easier for you as opposed to last year trying to play that maybe part-time role?
Communication for sure.
How's the communication different here?
I think that you can fill in the blanks on that,
How do you look back now on your time in Philadelphia 4 years ago? You had a lot of really good moments there. How do you look back on
Great, man. There was a lot of winning. Obviously, we fell up short of winning a World Series, which is the ultimate goal. But, 4 straight trips to the postseason, deep into the postseason, a lot of memorable moments, a lot of sad moments, but it's going to be a part of my life that I remember forever.
How do you feel about the way it ended a year earlier than maybe you had anticipated?
It is what it is, I don't have no hard feelings for it. They're an organization that's doing what they feel like is necessary for them to win, and they're making decisions. And that led me in San Diego, which, I'm enjoying myself and I'm getting to be teammates with new guys. Everything happens for a reason.
Do you feel like if the Phillies wanted you back in a similar role to what you had at the end of last year, you would have been open to that?
For sure. I always answer my phone when anybody calls me.
How did you feel about the way they handled it in the offseason? You didn't get released until, spring training had already started, actually.
It'd be what I'm going to sit here and just start thinking about a bunch of stuff and be playing like judge and jury, I could do that, but that's not going to help anybody or make any situation better. They handled it the way that they handled it. And, obviously it led to, just me being in a tough spot at the end, not really knowing, what was up. But at the end of the day, I'm here. I'm in this clubhouse. This staff is great. They've really embraced me. I feel like the players have really embraced me. Front office consistently ask me questions about how I see things. When they talk back to me, that's straight, and which is great because then I know what's up. I don't have to think or speculate or what did they really mean by that.
You know how good a lot of those guys are. You guys have been playing good as well. How do you think that these two teams match up for the series?
I think that they're both great teams. I feel like also too that, Don is doing a great job. And, they've seemed to have been playing well since he was, put into his position, which rightfully so. One of the most talented teams in all of baseball.
In your letter that you wrote after you were released addressing the Miami incident, you said that you would learn from this. What do you think you did learn from it, and how do you look back on that situation now?
I think that I just had a lot of pent up emotion and frustration that all came out pretty colorfully in the moment. Obviously not ideal, but everything that I said was 100% genuine. I think, how did I learn from it? Well, if I feel something that upsets me or doesn't sit right, I'm doing better at just saying it immediately then, because things are always easier to handle, like one step at a time instead of having to run and jump over a whole staircase, because all of these things have compiled. That's where I feel like I can be better.
From one more thing, you mentioned Don, like from afar, did you have any reaction to the managerial change, firing of Rob and putting Don in the manager seat?
Well, the decision is not mine to make, but when they put Don into the manager seat, my thought was right man, right spot. I think the fact that a father gets to work underneath his son is a beautiful thing. I think that baseball is, like a personal, family, authentic game. And I mean, honestly, what more of a authentic, genuine relationship can you have when you have a father, like Don Mattingly, and also a son like Preston, who, I've been able to form a relationship over the years, and how he goes about his business. I think it's a beautiful thing.
That was Nick Castellanos inside the Padres clubhouse earlier today. The former Philadelphia Philly, Nick Castellanos, batting at sixth and playing right field for the Padres today. A little bit of context there just on the final question about Don Mattingly becoming the Phillies interim manager when Rob Thompson was let go earlier this season. Preston Mattingly, Don's son, is the general manager of the Phillies. So that was the context of the question there. Preston Mattingly is Don's son. So Preston now has his father as the manager of the ball club. And obviously Don Mattingly, a former major league manager in a couple of other stops as well. And obviously a tremendous baseball player in his own right. First pitch coming up at 3:40 here at Petco Park. Let's give you our keys to today's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Rock and Block Turf and Hardscapes. Beautiful artificial turf that stays green all year long. Trust and experience. The job isn't done until it's done right. See them at rockandblocklandscape.com.
Key number one, don't let the Phillies' big bats wake up. The Phillies dropped 4 of 6 games at home last week. Their offense was a big reason why. Phillies scored just 14 runs total in the 6 games. They went a combined 2 for 25 with runners in scoring position against the Reds and Guardians. Phillies scored just 4 runs in their weekend series against Cleveland before coming to San Diego. So they have been a struggling offense the last week. Don't let the veteran big Philly bats wake up here today. Key number 2, Padres offense, get it going. Padres have not been an offensive juggernaut either as of late. They have scored 2 runs or fewer in 4 of their past 6 games. By the way, the Padres just 2 for 26 with runners in scoring position on this 6-game homestand. So certainly that number has to be quite a bit better. Key number 3, level up against Luzardo. The Phillies rotation has been stellar since May 10th, a 1.97 ERA as a starting pitching staff in that span. Lowest rotation ERA in the majors over that time. Philly starters have allowed 2 runs or fewer in 11 of their last 13 games. And part of that starting rotation is today's left-hander on the mound for Philadelphia, Jesus Luzardo. He has a 2.73 ERA in his last 6 starts. He gave up 2 runs across 6 innings against the Reds last Tuesday. Luzardo's had a bit of a weird year so far. He's been sort of all or nothing. In his first 10 starts, he allowed 2 runs or fewer in 6 of them, but he's given up at least 5 runs in each of his other 4 starts. Worth noting, all his bad outings this season have come at home in Philadelphia. He is 2-0 with a 1.52 ERA in 4 road starts this season. He has a 7.31 ERA in 6 starts at home. It is the largest difference in home versus road ERA among qualified pitchers. Padres have a couple of big players that have been good against Luzardo in their respective careers. Manny Machado, 3 for 9 with 2 home runs against them. Fernando Tatis Jr., 4 for 10 with a couple of doubles. Padres have hit a major league low 5 home runs against left-handed pitching this season. So again, a key to today's game, a big one. Can the Padres level up against Jesus Luzardo? They have struggled to slug against left-handed pitching. We'll see if Manny, if Fernando, if the Padres lineup can do that today. And key number 4, a good Griffin. Griffin Canning has a 9 ERA in 4 starts in a San Diego uniform so far this season. Last one against the Dodgers, pretty good. 5 innings, 3 earned runs given up on 4 hits. And we'll see how Griffin Canning does here today against the Philadelphia Phillies in his career against Philadelphia. 3 career starts against them, a 4.80 ERA. And that is a quick look, not a quick look, but a full look, an extensive look at our keys to today's game. When we come back, we'll take a look at one Philadelphia Philly in particular that you got to keep an eye on here today. Much more to come on our pregame coverage. First pitch coming up at 3:40 from downtown San Diego on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 3:40 here in downtown San Diego. We send things out to the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center in 5 minutes, where we'll join Jesse Agler and Tony Gwynn Jr. Well, the Phillies obviously a star-laden lineup, but one guy that's struggling at the very top of the lineup, that's Trey Turner playing shortstop today, leading off for the Phillies. Turner 0 for 12 over the weekend against Cleveland. He's batting just .225 on the year. Remember, Trey Turner led the National League with a .304 batting average last season. Alec Boehm, who's cleaning up for the Phillies, he's hitting .346 with 4 home runs, 7 RBIs in his last 14 games. Let's focus on one other Philadelphia Philly as we tell you what to watch for in this series opener.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For, presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovements.com.
What to watch for in today's game. How did the Padres handle the two-time most valuable player, Bryce Harper? Bryce is having a really, really nice season so far. Since April 1st, Bryce Harper is hitting .294 with a .958 OPS. That ranks 4th in the National League in that span, behind Corbin Carroll, Kyle Schwarber, his teammate, and the Cardinals' Jordan Walker. Harper has played in all 53 games for the Phillies this year. In their 26 wins, he's hitting .351 with an 1149 OPS. So when the Phillies play winning baseball, a lot of that is due to Bryce Harper having a big-time contribution. Harper playing first base, batting third here today. He's having a really, really nice season. Got to be careful with Bryce Harper here today and throughout this series. And that's what to watch for in this series opener between the Padres and the Phillies. Padres come in a record of 31-21, a game and a half back of the Dodgers for first place in the National League West. The Padres beginning the third leg, if you will, of this homestand. They lost 2 of 3 to the Dodgers to start it, then bounced back by winning 2 of 3 from the Athletics. Phillies come in 26-27, being managed by their interim skipper, Don Mattingly. Remember, the Phillies at one point had a 10-game losing skid in April, but since then they have played much, much better, coming in 1 game below 500 into this series. As always, thank you for listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. When we come back, we send things out to Jesse and Tony. They have the starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you post-game here on the Padres Radio Network.